Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the February 9, 2026 Council meeting. Agenda item 1 is a public hearing on the FY27 capital budget and FY27-32 capital improvements program. Committee work sessions on the FY27 capital budget and the FY27-32 capital improvements program will be scheduled through the end of April. As a reminder of our public hearing testimony guidelines, your comments must be limited to issues relevant to the public hearing topic for which you are testifying and are appropriate for a public meeting. You will only have 3 minutes, and I'm watching closely. The other thing, please, no clapping, no booing, do not interrupt anyone because it's distracting and really disrespectful if you don't agree with a person and vice versa. Okay, it's just not nice. With that, I'm going to start with Mr. David Stein from the Montgomery County Education Association. You can please turn on your mic. There you go.
Good afternoon, President Fanny Gonzalez and members of the County Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this afternoon. My name is David Stein, and I'm president of the Montgomery County Education Association. I'm here to urge the Council to take decisive action on a problem that is no longer abstract or theoretical, the daily structural conditions facing students and educators in our schools. Fully funding the county's capital improvement budget is not optional, it is essential. Across the county, school buildings are literally showing their age. HVAC systems fail to heat classrooms in the winter and cool them in the summer. Plumbing failures flood classrooms and at times shut down entire schools. These are not one-off inconveniences. They are chronic failures, and the list keeps growing. Now, I know none of this is new to any of you. You have all been to our schools and seen the issues firsthand. And we appreciate that the spending affordability limits were increased, but we fear that this just isn't enough to address the infrastructure crisis facing our schools. We've all heard the familiar refrains. The price tag is too high, times are tough, there are competing priorities. But what often goes unspoken is this: inaction also has a price, and it's one that we've been paying for years. Inaction is how we got here. Pretending the problems will fix themselves is how we got here. When problems aren't fixed promptly, they don't disappear, they compound. And as every facilities manager and every homeowner knows, deferred maintenance doesn't save money. It guarantees higher costs down the road. But the cost of inaction isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in the growing frustration of parents, students, and educators who have organized, testified, petitioned, advocated again and again for schools that meet basic standards of safety and dignity. Ignoring the condition of our buildings means ignoring the people inside them. So today, the choice before the Council is clear. We can continue to build frustration, or we can build schools that work. Schools where students can focus on learning instead of shivering in the winter and sweating through the summer. Schools where educators can teach without worrying about the next massive system failure. Let's choose to build that future together, and let's start today. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fernando next. Oh, Ms. Fernando.
Hi.
Okay.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Hallie Fernando, and I serve as Executive Director of the Mid-Atlantic Off-Road Enthusiasts, or MORE. We are a nonprofit dedicated to building, maintaining, and advocating for natural surface trails in the region. In Montgomery County, we work hand in hand with the Parks Department to steward some of the most well-loved and well-used trails and bike parks in the region. I'm here today to urge the Council to increase the capital budget for parks and trails and to fully fund the Wheaton Action Sports Park. Parks and trails deliver an exceptional return on investment. Time and again, our members who live in Montgomery County tell us that access to high-quality outdoor recreation is one of the main reasons they choose to move here and why they stay. Each year, thousands of people visit the county to hike, run, and bike on natural surface trails. Each year, thousands of people visit the county specifically to ride in MoCo, and they bring their dollars with them. One clear example is Moore's annual MoCo Epic. In a single weekend, this event draws more than 1,000 riders. Last year alone, participants traveled from Pennsylvania, Virginia, Delaware, New York, North Carolina, Colorado, and California. They stayed in local hotels, ate at local restaurants, grabbed coffee, visited breweries, and supported small businesses in the county. That economic activity is directly tied to the quality of our trails and parks. Beyond the economic impact, these outdoor amenities strengthen community and inspire stewardship. More organizes volunteer workdays throughout the county to help maintain trails and bike parks. I've participated in many of these dig days, most recently in Fairland and Wheaton Regional. I've also witnessed volunteers working alongside Montgomery Park's trail crew in the South Germantown Bike Park. It's really inspiring to see young kids, teenagers, and their parents swinging tools and taking care of the places they love to ride. These parks are also training grounds for youth mountain biking teams, getting hundreds of kids and teens off screens and outdoors, building skills, confidence, and a sense of responsibility to their community. Last year alone, the volunteer time contributed by the mountain biking community in Montgomery County equated to nearly $200,000 in trail investment. I respectfully ask the Council to continue and increase its support for parks, trails, and bike parks, and to fully fund the Wheaton Action Sports Park. These investments create healthier and happier residents, strengthen our local economy, and build the kind of connected, engaged community that makes Montgomery County a special place. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wow, 3 minutes into that. Mr. John Holden.
Good afternoon. I'm here because the CIP budget proposes to spend an additional $115 million on design, land acquisition, and construction of a median lane implementation for the bus rapid transit on US 29, Colesville Road. First and foremost, this funding request is premature because the Council has not held a separate hearing on the project as required by the Functional Master Plan approved in 2013, which states, quote, "A vital facet of facility planning is to receive input and feedback from affected property owners, civic and business groups, and transit riders and road users. No county funding for transit corridor implementation as proposed in this plan or in subsequent studies will be considered until the Council is satisfied that this fundamental public engagement requirement has been fulfilled and a Council public hearing solely for each corridor is held." And close quote. So note the following about the preliminary design for this median lane implementation. The median lanes would be for BRT flash buses only and would not benefit any other vehicles or even other types of buses, metro, ride-on, school, commuter buses. The preliminary design requires purchasing property and easement areas in order to widen US 29 by up to 12 feet, taking away yards, parking spaces, and even one business's office building on US 29, likely closing the business. The proposed reconstruction of US 29 would be costly and disruptive, requiring relocation of utilities, removal of trees, and purchase of land. The residents and businesses along US 29 do not want disruptions similar to the Purple Line project. The median lane design includes removing travel lanes in each direction on US 29 through Four Corners, with impacts leading to increased cut-through neighborhood traffic. The median lanes would introduce numerous left-turn prohibitions, requiring 3 new traffic signals just to access neighborhoods and businesses. And at the end of it, for the majority of the US 29 corridor, the flash buses would still remain in mixed traffic. So I urge you to abandon this expensive, disruptive, and ineffective implementation of a median lane BRT only bus option on part of US 29 and save all of us taxpayers from this wasteful expense. This one is easy. There are less expensive, less disruptive, and more effective alternatives as described in my written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's please remember to state your name at the beginning of your testimony. Next, I have Mr. David McGill.
Thank you. Thank you, members of the council. I'm Dave McGill. I am a Moore member. I'm speaking here on my own. You probably all recognize me. You've heard me say similar things in the past. What can I say to you that's new or different? Well, first of all, I am here to support the Natural Surface Trails budget and the construction side, not just operations, in the CIP. First of all, Moco Parks has an excellent 5-year plan. They have really done a great job reaching out to stakeholders like us and all the other groups, and what they're proposing to build is going to be very well received and really satisfy what people want, and really happy to see that. Remind you that this is a little over $1 million, and we're asking for an increase. And Hallie already pointed out very well that it is really true that maybe not half, but at least a quarter to a third of the people on these trails come from out of the county. The trail system here is so good, it's so interesting, it's so varied, it's so attractive in the woods that it really does draw in people. So in terms of spending $1 million to get $1 million of economic benefit, I think this is about as good a deal as you're going to get. Finally, the last point to make is that Montgomery Parks is investing in really increased accessibility. So we have a trail system, a lot of it is kind of down the middle, very nice, but they're medium quality. So and Montgomery Parks is investing in greater accessibility for adaptive riders and wheelchair people. That takes some money and a little bit of work to change things around. They are investing in opportunities for both families, but also experts. And so what you could do with this capital budget is continue to draw people to a improving, expanding, diverse trail system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Tony Alter.
Hi, my name is Tony Altar. I've been skateboarding since 1961. I've competed nationally in tournaments, and I'm a charter member of the DC Wheels skateboard team, and I'm here representing the skateboard design work group for Montgomery County. The Wheaton Action Sports Park brings at least two sets of values to our county. One, the first set of benefits are for the county itself. The Action Park will be a jewel in the Wheaton area. It will be a relatively low-cost facility to build and to maintain. It will increase the value of homes within a large radius around the park and revenues from property taxes. It will attract families, business owners, and home builders because recreation and the community it creates are valued. It will be a go-to location for all kinds of community activities. Have you, the council, calculated the expected additional revenue and cost savings to the county over decades from this park? The second set of benefits are for individuals and families. The Action Park will be a creative hub, a community center for jogging, exercising, biking, rollerblading, and other sports, including skateboarding. It will be a safe haven that promotes self-expression and connections between diverse ethnic and economic populations. A well-designed park creates a sense of purpose and belonging. It's a place to call home for abandoned kids and adults from our area. It creates a community that is passionate about health. As we all know, kids, including those in the Wheaton area, are increasingly grappling with anxiety and depression, fueled by social media excess, socioeconomic barriers, and really very few places to go when the sun is shining. As a result, they spend less time outdoors and in physical activities. This contributes to childhood obesity and mental health concerns. My wife, Kristen Altar, the first psychiatric nurse practitioner hired by Montgomery County, sees young people from this area on a routine basis. She knows that skateboarding and sports in general improve mental health and social interactions for kids who might otherwise be marginalized. So in conclusion, I'd like to ask the council, have you calculated in dollars the long-term cost versus income benefit of the Action Park? Can you propose suitable alternatives for kids and families in the Wheaton area? If not, I believe the council should readdress the Wheaton Action Sports Park, appropriate the budget, that will pay for far greater financial and personal gains for many years to come.
Thank you so much. I'm going to call on the next panel. I'm going to have Mr. Joseph Walker, William Sickles, Alex Vespoli, Bruce Adams, Katie Rector, Katie Hecklinger, and Christopher Roach. Please state your name at the beginning of your testimony. You have 3 minutes. And we're going to start with Mr. Joseph Walker, who is... That's you? Go ahead. If you can please turn on your mic. That little button. There you go. Thank you.
Okay, can you hear me? Hi, council members. My name is Josh Walker. I'm here to testify about increasing the natural surface trails budget for the county. I've only lived in Maryland for 2 years, but since I've been here, I've been incredibly impressed by this state's dedication to its parks. We don't have any huge national parks like so many other states do, but the dedication that I see from both Maryland and the local governments in maintaining their trail systems and their parks is amazing. Like Seneca Creek State Park right in this county is one of the best parks on the East Coast. We have Shaver Bike Park. We have the Frederick Watershed just up north. We have some of the best outdoor recreation in the country, and it's all funded by local governments. So for me, maintaining that spending or increasing that spending as well is very important to kind of the heart of Maryland as I've come to know it. I ride Schaefer pretty much like 3 times a week during the year. And it's really made me fall in love with this state. I think putting funding towards parks is vital for having people understand how the land works. As if you have experience walking around the land and seeing these beautiful formations, you're going to want to learn about them, and you're going to fall in love with the place you're in. And the place you're in is what brings you, I don't know what the best word for this is, but it's what brings you success in life. So if you take care of the place you are, that's what's going to give you wealth and happiness in your life. So I think increasing the amount of trails we have to increase access to new places and learn new things about the world we're in is a very important thing. And I hope the council considers that when they consider their allocation of funds towards parks. That's pretty much all I have. I also just want to say that in this increasingly digital age, it's very important to provide kids with space in the real world where they can socialize with each other and build skills and get away from, everything that comes with the digital world these days, especially with the rise of AI and everything. Having the ability to work in the real world and develop real world skills is incredibly important. And nothing provides that quite like the park system does. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. Before we continue, I just want to announce that we have Councilmember Will Jowando virtual. I see him now. Next, we have Mr. William Sickles.
Hi there. I'm William Sickles. I'm representing Kids After Hours Skateboard Camp and Shred House Skate School. So speaking pretty specifically to the Wheaton Action Sports Regional Park, I may be saying skaters, skateboarders, but I'm referring to bicycle riders, scooter riders, rollerblades, all those sorts of action sports. So basically, my organization, I bring about 24 kids around to all the different skate parks in Maryland, Virginia, and DC, and I can't bring them to anywhere in Montgomery County. There is no place to bring them to the bathroom. There's Olney Manor Skate Park, which is a little terrifying, but I have to strike a deal with the indoor swimming pool there to bring my kids in there to use the bathroom. Tacoma Park Skate Park is falling apart. The Woodside one in downtown Silver Spring is not necessarily where I'd like to bring an 8-year-old. There's just not necessarily some, kid-friendly activity going on there. So basically, we have nothing aside from the Rockville Skate Park, which is not as accessible and is run by the Rockville Rec Department, not Montgomery Parks. So basically requesting to restore funding for a couple of different reasons. Basically amenities at skate parks, that provides the safety. If you don't have a bathroom, let's just say you get a cut on your finger and you can't wash your hands in the sink. If there's no water, there's not a lot of expectation. Like, what is the 14-year-old without a car supposed to do in order to get water? So amenities provide safety. Bathrooms, sink, shade, water, all of those things require funding. Places for families to stand and sit and watch skateboarding. All of that requires funding. Let's see, Montgomery County, just in general, we're pretty behind on action sports. Action sports, many of them are now featured in the Olympics. And basically my entire life, I've just been skateboarding in parking lots, which is not necessarily where we want our kids skateboarding. And then just as a kids program leader, let's see how much time I got. Great. As a kids program leader, the skate parks, that's the clubhouse. That's where you get to meet people. Skateboarding, BMX, it's a lot like instruments. You practice in your bedroom alone. So the skate park gives those kids a place to go and to connect with other people, stay off the screens, enjoy the outdoors. And if you have a skate park that's just some ramps on a parking lot without a bathroom or without a nice place to sit or any of that, we're just not serving a really large and growing community. And I think kids, but I'm also going to use the park too.
Thank you. Before we continue, Councilmember Lorenz also has a comment.
Just quickly, you didn't mention Gaithersburg Skate Park, so you might want to check that out. Lots of facilities to park and to use facilities as well.
Thank you. Next, we have Alex Vespoli.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. My name is Alex Vespoli. I live in Gaithersburg, just outside Damascus. I'm here primarily to request full funding of the CIP. We very much look forward to a brand new Damascus High School sooner rather than later. But I wanted to address in particular a couple problems with the funding of the CIP in general. I'm going to quote directly from the county executive's letter in his overview of the CIP. Impact tax revenues, which support the capital budget, continue to decline due to policy choices made by county council and economic changes in the real estate market. I completely agree, but I think he's speaking about the wrong policy choices. The policy choices that I think are at issue here are those which disincentivize residential construction in the county and broadly make the county less economically competitive compared to the other jurisdictions in the DMV. Since the council passed rent control in the 4 quarters that I have data for, since then, a total of 92 multifamily residential permits were pulled. Not 92 projects, 92 units. It's an average of 23 per quarter. The 7 quarters prior to that averaged 582 units per quarter. If you guys are looking for additional impact tax funding for the CIP, I strongly suggest you build some housing so that we can get more impact taxes to fund the CIP in the schools. You're going to hear much more eloquent testimony than mine about the condition of the schools, the need for reinvestment, safety for our children, et cetera, et cetera. But without residential construction, which is the primary form of generating the impact tax revenue needed to fund the school budget for the CIP, you're simply not going to get that. A lot of the rent control language is based on the desire to stem the affordability crisis, which is a real thing. But the 10 cities, 10 MSAs in the country that built the most housing over the last 5 years averaged a rental decline of 7%, a decline of 7%, not holding steady at 3% over CPI, not a little bit more than inflation, a decline of 7% due to the dramatic additional supply. As we all know, additional supply provides relief for that demand. If we don't provide more housing, our residents have nowhere to go and the rent will continue to rise and people will not invest and builders will not pull permits and we will not generate the impact taxes necessary to fund the CIP. There's many stats out there about the county's challenges, but in comparison with the other large jurisdictions in the DMV, the county is consistently ranking 8th, 9th, 10th on all economic competitive measures. 8th in GDP growth from 2012 to 2022, ninth in population growth from 2012 to 2022, and on and on. And I'll just close here as I know I'm out of time. The office leases, the largest office leases in the DMV in 2025, 2 in Montgomery County. 2 out of 25 office leases. We're not generating high income jobs. We're not a competitive place for white collar jobs to come. And if that continues, the CIP will struggle. We will have to raise taxes.
Thank you, Mr. Rispoli. Next, we have Mr. Bruce Adams.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of the Montgomery Parks budget. I'm Bruce Adams here as the founder and president of the Bethesda Community Baseball Club, steward of the Big Train Baseball. Our comments relate both to the CIP and the operating budget. I want to make 4 points that I shared with you a couple of years ago in your hearings. We have an extraordinary park system of which we can all be proud. Current staff and resources are not sufficient to maintain and grow the park system at a level of excellence we all would like to achieve. It's essential council continue to provide Montgomery Parks an adequate budget to avoid deterioration of our parks. The county does not have to do this alone. Public-private partnerships should be a more valued part of our effort to achieve excellence in the face of limited public resources. Former Parks Director Mike Riley regularly referred to Shirley Povich Field, Capitol Crescent Trail, and Brookside Gardens as the 3 crown jewels of the Montgomery Parks. None of these projects would be the jewels they are today without the time, talent, and treasure of private partners. Povich Field was built by our Bethesda Community Baseball Club in 1999, working with the Parks Foundation. We've worked tirelessly to maintain the excellence of Povich Field ever since. We weed, we clean, we invest in needed improvements and maintenance. What we do benefits all the users of Povich Field. We also invested $600,000 in improving youth fields from Germantown to Anacostia. I want to share 2 exciting updates that speak to our desire to continue as a strong partner with Montgomery Parks. A year ago, Seth Silber, a 30-year Montgomery resident whose family has owned a minor league baseball team in Virginia since 1990, joined our board. Seth led the construction of a $35 million ballpark that opened in Fredericksburg, Virginia in 2021, an affiliate of the Washington Nationals. I asked Seth to chair a strategic planning committee to develop a plan for the second 25 years of Big Train Baseball. I'm very excited about the initiative we'll present soon to Montgomery Parks. It's improving local parks, particularly in underserved neighborhoods, while enhancing Povich Field as a year-round hub for affordable family and community fun, honoring the region's rich African-American baseball heritage, creating educational resources and opportunities for youth to help reduce existing geographic inequities to the ability of youth of all backgrounds to play and to thrive. When Shirley Povich's eldest son, David, died in 2022, the family graciously encouraged friends to donate to support Povich Field. Our David Povich Improvement Fund stands at $440,000 and growing. It is our intention to make significant capital improvements to serve all users of Povich Field and convert the David Povich Fund to an endowment to provide annual maintenance support to ensure the excellence of Povich Field long into the future. So we ask you to fund the CIP and the operating budget of Montgomery Parks adequately, and please use your voices to encourage a deeper appreciation for the value of partnerships in the county.
Thank you. Ms. Katie Richter.
Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Katie Richter, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Montgomery Parks Foundation. We're the nonprofit partner that works alongside Montgomery Parks to enhance, expand, and sustain our county's park system for the benefit of all residents. I'm here today to strongly urge the Council to restore the full requested capital improvements program budget for Montgomery Parks. Montgomery County parks are not a luxury, they're essential infrastructure. They support public health, environmental stewardship, youth development, climate resilience, and community connection. From playgrounds and athletic fields to conservation parks and trails, our park system touches every resident every day. The CIP budget supports transformational projects that meet real community needs. For example, the Wheaton Action Sports Park at Wheaton Regional Park will provide a safe, inclusive, and professionally designed space for youth and families, particularly teens, who are often underserved in traditional park planning. Projects like this activate our parks, foster positive youth engagement, and strengthen community pride. The CIP also enables critical investments in sustainability, including Montgomery Park solar projects, which reduce long-term operating costs, advance the county's climate goals, and model environmental leadership. These projects demonstrate how capital investments today deliver financial and environmental returns for decades to come. The foundation works to supplement public investment through philanthropy, but private dollars cannot replace public commitment. In fact, our ability to raise charitable support depends on the county's demonstrated investment. Donors are more willing to partner with us when they see the county fully funding the park system. We are deeply concerned about the long-term impacts of deferred maintenance and delayed capital projects. These costs do not disappear, they grow, placing a greater burden on future budgets and communities. Restoring the full CIP request is an investment in equity, sustainability, and quality of life. It ensures that all communities have access to safe, welcoming, and well-maintained parks. On behalf of the Montgomery Parks Foundation, our donors, and the many residents who value our parks, I respectfully ask you to restore the full requested CIP budget for Montgomery Parks.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Katie Hecklinger.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Katie Hecklinger. I'm a lifelong Montgomery County resident, a Germantown neighbor, and the Chief Executive Officer of Black Rock Center for the Arts. I'd like to begin by thanking Council President Natalie Fanny Gonzalez for her leadership, and to the Rockstar Vice President Marilyn Balcom, whose up-county advocacy continues to strengthen arts, education, and community. I'm also an alum of Montgomery County Germantown campus, and I've spent my career as an educator and nonprofit leader deeply committed to arts, education, and community building in this region. I'm here today to ask for your support of Montgomery College's capital budget, particularly the Theater Arts Building, where performing arts students learn their craft to become the future theater workforce. The future of Germantown and Montgomery County depends on the choices we make today, especially how we invest in education and cultural institutions that serve as anchors for community life, workplace development, and civic identity. That's why I want to express my sincere appreciation for your continued support of Montgomery College, a critical partner in Germantown's present and its future. When education and culture work together, communities become more connected, more resilient, and better prepared for growth. This doesn't just enrich lives, they shape place, attract investment, and help communities evolve with intention. That vision was echoed actually last week with the Montgomery Planning Germantown sector briefing. Residents shared that they love living in Germantown. They value its diversity, the access to parks and shopping, and the cultural institutions like Black Rock and Montgomery College. And they expressed a desire to see what already exists stronger, safer, better connected, and more accessible as Germantown continues to develop. Germantown has, again, just of last week, ranked the most ethnically diverse city in the United States. Planning for its future must honor that diversity, and investing in shared educational and cultural spaces is one of the most powerful ways to do so. Black Rock's long-standing partnership with Montgomery College shows what investment in this makes possible. I know firsthand how transformative a strong performing arts program can be for students in the regional workforce that will one day lead. That's why I strongly urge your support of Montgomery College's capital budget, particularly the renovation of the Theater Arts Building, so that modern, accessible facilities are essential to preparing students for successful careers. This investment helps ensure Germantown remains vibrant, connected, and competitive place to live, learn, work, and let's not forget to play. Thank you for your leadership and your commitment to investing in Germantown's future. Together we can ensure the future is full of opportunity. And that's my time.
Thank you. Mr. Christopher Roach.
Thank you. My name is Chris Roach. I'm a county resident, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak specifically to advocate for supporting our county's parks and trails through this budget process. When people talk about why they chose to live in Montgomery County over, say, Northern Virginia or even other parts of the country, our park system and the connectedness of those parks in our communities is always high on that list. Not only do we have more amazing parks than I can count, they're all integrated so well into our community. My kids and I can easily walk or bike to several parks with playgrounds for them, and I'll frequently bike all through our network on both the paved and natural surface trails. From my house, just inside the Beltway, I can easily reach Wheaton Regional and then continue up the Northwest Branch all the way to the Trolley Museum and the fantastic new disc golf course there. I can ride from the DC border along Rock Creek all the way up past Lakes Needwood and Bernard Frank up to the Agricultural Farm History Park. I can take multiple routes from Black Hill Regional Park down to the C&O Canal and hardly ever do more than cross a road. Everywhere along these trails are little side paths, both formal and informal, that lead into neighborhoods and let people step out their door and be just a short walk or ride from an adventure. No car needed, even in some of our most far-flung suburbs. Maintaining and expanding this network is no small feat. The volunteers helping out through the county's Weed Warrior program or working with more or smaller groups like the Friends of Sligo Creek have a lot of enthusiasm, but I urge the council to support them and the people patronizing our parks with the full funding they need to maintain these trails and connect them to more neighborhoods. I'm particularly concerned to hear that the proposed Action Sports Park at Wheaton Regional Park is at risk of being delayed or even canceled due to the lack of funding. We've seen some great projects in that area, like the new downhill trails at Wheaton and the Carroll Knowles pump track that's under construction right now. But the Action Sports Park has the potential to be a true destination attraction, drawing people from all over the region. It would be such a shame to shelve the existing plans. It's a big project, but nothing comparable even exists in our region right now, and I can't wait to see it funded and built. With the remainder of my time, I'd like to switch topics real quick. I've got a second grader at New Hampshire Estates Elementary, and I'll have a kindergartner there next year. It's a Title I school, and the teachers are absolutely amazing, but they're struggling with subpar facilities. There's issues with mold. We just got a notice from our teacher today about problems with the heat to make sure our kids are wearing extra layers in the building. And for the quality of education our kids are getting, they're getting the most fantastic education, but our teachers and staff need to be supported with the proper facilities. Thank you.
Thank you. We're done with this panel. Next one. Thank you for coming. We have Lee Kaiser, Carrie Wittstop, I think, Patrick Sheehan, Therese Gibson, Seth Morgan, Trisha Sedusky. Please state your name on top. I'm sure I mispronounced quite a few of them. We're going to start with Lee. Is that you? Okay, go ahead.
Good afternoon, council members. I'm Lee Kaiser, District 1 resident. Proposed delays in CIP transportation projects for FY 27 through 32 accelerate many residents turning blue. While holding our breath to add sidewalks and bikeways, those pushed out beyond 6 years means construction may never see the light of day. In this group is 501733 to close gaps along MD 191 that bisects my community of South Bradley Hills. This 2-lane state road, aka Bradley Boulevard, is our main street, if you will. Last December, on a bitterly cold morn with a 2-hour MCPS delay, a neighbor's child at her bus stop along a wall at an intersecting street was barely able to jump away when a northbound speeding young driver lost control of her car, crossed the solid yellow line, and rammed into that wall. The student escaped serious injury only due to intervention divine. Accordingly, this crash that required no hospitalization eluded the news. Nevertheless, it was another freak accident that left a child frightened and confused. Why has our 3/4-mile Bradley Boulevard sidewalk gap persisted? It was first advised in the 1990 BCC Master Plan and Bicycle Master Plans too, yet funding construction is resisted. Where do we go with a state road Main Street capital project forever stuck in final design stage? What options might exist for possibly scaled down components and a faster construction phase? Why, despite a dozen intersecting streets, would the new Bradley Boulevard crosswalks total only 2? This is insufficient given Bradley Boulevard's busy traffic and population density in homes old and new. We've waited long enough for Bradley's planned crosswalks, albeit unsignalized. When State Highway was asked years ago to paint them then, SHA said, no crosswalks without sidewalks, they rationalized. Apparently, SHA ignored that policy when adding a crosswalk a 1/4 mile north of our project's scope. That site's flashing beacon light serves as a sad reminder of our community's intermittent hope. To gain along a denser Bradley corridor, more crosswalks and a sidewalk per 501733. Many master plan sidewalk bikeway projects languish in the CIP. Do I now hold my breath for the Council's infrastructure funding workgroup advice? Staff say CIP funding should diversify. Transportation impact taxes are down. I get the budget strife. However, 35 years after master plan recommendations, it's faith in this process that's wearing thin, as advancing 501733 to construction remains elusive. To achieve Vision Zero and help lessen the risk of our neighbors' future near misses, an FY27 timetable for Bradley Boulevard sidewalks must be conclusive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Carrie Whitcup.
Hi, I'm Carrie Whitcup. I'm testifying on behalf of the Montgomery County Sierra Club and myself. As a mother of 3 MCPS graduates and a former chair of MCCPTA Health Committee, I've seen firsthand how our decisions here impact student well-being. The Sierra Club strongly opposes funding for synthetic turf in the CIP and urges you to support the county executive's position and the work of MCPS, Student Climate Action Council. Turf is a misnomer. Real turf, it's living grass and soil. These synthetic fields are industrial carpets made of 20 tons of plastic and 200 tons of infill. They are hard, hot, toxic, and nearly impossible to dispose of. When these fields reach their end of life, they are not recycled. They are often dumped or incinerated, releasing toxics into our air and microplastics into our soil and water. Natural grass is environmentally healthy, safe, and many athletes say a lot more fun to play on. So would you rather skin your knee on synthetic turf or skin your knee on natural grass or filthy turf? That's what my son said. You've got to say that. Synthetic surfaces cause far more ACL tears, concussions, and heat-related illnesses. The forever chemicals and microplastics found in these plastic fields are known endocrine disruptors. The NFL and Major League Soccer have documented the superior safety of natural grass. Students report that there is an unpleasant scent and feel of these synthetic turf fields, these synthetic grass. I'm here for the Sierra Club. We defend the environment. The runoff from these fields leaches toxins and microplastics directly into our streams in the Chesapeake Bay. A single synthetic field generates between 40 and 90 tons of CO2 during manufacturing and installation. In contrast, natural grass is a carbon sink that actually sequesters CO2. Montgomery County has ambitious climate goals, and natural grass can help us meet those targets. Several states have banned the sale of synthetic turf due to the forever chemicals. By funding these fields, the county is investing in a product that is becoming a legacy pollutant, which could become a legal and financial responsibility for the county in the future. To be clear, the Sierra Club opposes converting any grass field to a synthetic field. We urge you to support the county executive's budget proposal to shift the money from synthetic surfaces to natural grass fields. And we want to remind you that you have the last word on the $6 billion MCPS CIP, and you can make these or keep these line item changes in. Before I close, I want to thank Councilmember Natalie Fanny Gonzalez for her work with the MCPS Student Climate Action Council on their artificial turfs report. This is a thoughtful, balanced report. It's worth reading, and it makes constructive recommendations. Our sports fields are hugely important to our athletes and hugely important to our communities. We hope you will fund natural grass fields and maintain them all fully.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Patrick Sheehan. Can you please open? There you go. It's on. You can go ahead.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. My name is Pat Sheehan, a member of the National Capital Area Chapter of the American Council of the Blind, speaking on a couple of points with respect to floating bus stops and intersection design. First, starting with floating bus stops, I've been involved in working along with the county and other groups to try to make them accessible over the last 10 years. We were promised a lot of accessibility, including accessible pedestrian signals, railings, consistent construction, and we haven't seen that. And so I would urge the county, number one, to not construct any more floating bus stops. As far as the protected bike lanes, I've done a little bit of research on those and have found that they cost between $500,000 to $1 million for each mile of protected bike lanes. I think the money that's spent on the floating bus stops, the money that's spent on the protected bike lanes could be used much more effectively on sidewalk and intersection design. In meetings when I've talked to groups that have advocated for the protected bike lanes, we ask what the rationale is. Where's the data that supports that these bus lanes should be constructed? And basically, I've been told that if you build it, they will come. I would ask that you look at the data to see how many bike users are using these lanes. Is that the most effective use of the money that we're spending in the county? I don't think so. A number of years ago, back in 2017, I had a friend who was walking with a guide dog crossing the protected bike lane to go over to a floating bus stop, and he came within 2 inches of being struck by a bicyclist that obviously could see him, but all he said was, whoa, 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 and missed him by about 2 inches. So there's a real safety concern about this, and I think that this is particularly a bad investment. The other area that I'm interested in as a blind person and representing other blind people in the county is the installation of the accessible pedestrian signals. We have a couple of orientation mobility instructors, Sharon Payne and Mary Beth Cleveland in the county. You need to be able to hire people like this to take a look at the work that's being done on the installation of the accessible pedestrian signals. Many times the signals aren't put in the right areas. The arrows that are on the signals are not pointing into the crosswalk as they should. The braille that is placed on these signals is upside down in the wrong place, pointing to the wrong streets, and that's just sloppy work. It's work that needs to be looked at by professionals that know what they're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have Ms. Gibson next.
Good afternoon. I'm Therese Gibson, MCC PTA Blair Cluster Coordinator. The county's financial crisis is sobering, as are the poor conditions of some schools. Thank you to the county leaders willing to extend debt and invest in healthy facilities. Blair Cluster schools have some of the worst conditions in the county. Of our 11 schools, 4 have requested new facilities. I have sent you a detailed report on school conditions. We are hopeful that Eastern Middle School will be rebuilt. Eastern's PTSA has voted and strongly recommends a 1,200 enrollment capacity per MCPS regulations. We have schools that never seem to make the CIP list. Among the worst of our elementary schools are New Hampshire Estates and Rolling Terrace. Both have unrelenting mold problems. An exterior envelope was installed at New Hampshire Estates to mitigate moisture intrusion, but did not help. The school is scheduled to receive a $2.2 million ventilation duct system because the lower level does not have ductwork. Its HVAC system, not funded for replacement, fails regularly. Today, the upstairs is a heat sauna while there is no heat in the lower level. It's 28 degrees outside. The children have been wearing their coats in class since last Thursday. The superintendent told this Title I community he needs more data before he can rebuild NHE. Its MCPS facility conditions report failed to document its crisis conditions. Some staff have taken long-term disability due to severe respiratory illness. Some staff refuse to work in the lower level where the problem is most severe because they cannot breathe there. Please keep New Hampshire Estates top of mind and ask repeatedly when MCPS plans to rebuild it. Rolling Terrace's HVAC is failing earlier than expected. MCPS inspected and found fungus growing in the school. Again, this is another school where no HVAC replacement is proposed, but has a critical need. Heating in the cafeteria does not function. Cooling in the media center does not function. Temperature control in classrooms malfunctions. With the county's emphasis on new housing in the University Boulevard corridor, Rolling Terrace is likely to remain overcrowded even after the elementary school boundary study. 8 Blair Cluster schools report persistent and severe HVAC malfunction. Pinecrest and Montgomery Knolls have some of the most critical needs, and HVAC replacement budgets for these schools are nowhere to be found in the superintendent's 6-year CIP HVAC replacement budget. Two things that are in the superintendent's proposed budget: an indoor swimming pool and high school-sized gym for Piney Branch Elementary School valued at $12 million. What are our priorities? Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Seth Morgan.
Thank you very much. My name is Seth Morgan, and although I have previously served on the Commission on People with Disabilities for 13 years, 7 of those as chairman, I am now speaking on my own behalf as a disabled resident of the county. I am strongly opposed to the continued funding of MCDOT's projects to build costly bicycle lanes while multiple cities across the country are considering or are actively investing even more money to get rid of similar failed projects in their cities. We do not have a budget robust enough to afford continuing to take this risk. The ableist bias of the Department of Transportation in favoring bike lanes construction over pedestrian safety projects is alarming. Disabled residents, both as private individuals as well as on behalf of organizations such as the American Council for the Blind and the Commission on People with Disabilities, have been asking MCDOT for years to address pedestrian safety, which has worsened due to the emphasis on constructing bikeways. Many residents are no longer engaged in their communities because of the changes such as floating bus stops and the attendant dangers of crossing bike lanes to be able to access bus service. There is no standard design of these construction projects across the DMV to allow for easy use by the blind. Regional variations in design endangers us all. Most distressingly, MCDOT has never seriously reconsidered their decision to install bike lanes despite pedestrian safety concerns and feedback from disability advocates. MCDOT makes presentations of what they intend to do, but do not seriously reconsider their devotion to cyclist lane construction. MCDOT touts that they have presented their plans to disability groups and asking for comments as if this in and of itself constitutes an agreement with their plans from the disabled. It does not. Getting feedback is useless if no substantive action is taken. This window dressing is not a buy-in with their plans by disabled as they hope it will sound when requesting funding. Lastly, the title of the MCDOT document, Pedestrian Facilities / Bikeways, does not allow for a clear understanding of how much money is being spent on pedestrian safety versus bikeway construction. As these are not one and the same, future summaries should not commingle these categories. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Tricia
Sadusky, yes. Hello, I'm Tricia Sadusky, and I'm the mother of a second grader and kindergartner at New Hampshire Estates Elementary School. As a Title I school that has some of the highest needs students in the district, our school faces many challenges that are often difficult to address and fix. The poor air quality and conditions of the heating and cooling systems at the school should not be some of them. These are issues that can be directly addressed and easily fixed if we were provided with the funding that we so desperately need. For years, we have been asking for the funding that would allow our students to breathe cleaner air, and for years, it has been pushed back on your list of priorities. For years, we have asked for the funds to fix our HVAC systems that are regularly breaking down, necessitating emergency repairs in both hot and cold weather. And for years, we have not been awarded this funding. As a result, students who go to school every day are not guaranteed a healthy learning environment. Teachers go into school every day knowing that their health is at risk and knowing that they are leading their students into their classrooms who are breathing unhealthy air due to mold issues. And throughout the year, students deal with classrooms that are either too hot or too cold due to an HVAC system that is too old to function properly, including today. While we have received funds in the sum of about $2.2 million that will hopefully allow us to install ventilation ductwork to alleviate some of the poor indoor air quality, this is not enough. This funding will help with minor changes that might help in the short term, but we need a full overhaul of the building system. The fact that the building was built in 1954, along with the fact that it is partially built into a hillside, which increases the building's moisture exposure and therefore mold exposure, are putting the school's students and teachers at risk. Earlier this year, my second grade son was coming home daily complaining of headaches. At the time, I was under the impression that the mold issues had been addressed enough to ensure that our children were not at risk of health issues. Weeks after these headaches began, I spoke to Nancy McNerney, our PTA president, and learned that these issues had not been addressed. Knowing his teacher and classmates were being allowed to work and learn in an unhealthy environment appalled me. But what was most upsetting and concerning was realizing that his headaches all went away during our winter break when he was not at school and being exposed to these conditions. During my parent-teacher conference, I learned the struggles that his teacher has been dealing with for years. She told me how she is spending her own money to buy air filters to use for the temporary air purifiers that have been put into her classroom and that have become a permanent fixture in the absence of a permanent solution that has not been provided. Why is this acceptable? The classrooms at greatest risk currently house the second grade students. I have a kindergartner who suffers from asthma, and I'm terrified that he will be sitting in the same classroom as his older brother in a couple of years, breathing air that will make him come home sick as well. How can you hear the testimony of these conditions each year and fail to address them? Your students deserve better, and you need to do better for them. Please do not ignore us for another year. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last testimony for this panel. Thank you so much. Please take your time as you are getting up. No rush here. The next in-person group is Mr. George Escobar and Ms. Maria Inez Gomez. After that, everyone else is virtual. There you go. Thank you, Jim. That's fine. Please state your name on top. We're going to start with Mr. George Escobar.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Council President, members of the Council. My name is George Escobar, and I have the pleasure to serve as Executive Director at We Are CASA. Again, thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thanks for your leadership on behalf of Montgomery County's immigrant community. I'm here to respectfully request your support to complete the renovation of CASA's Rockville Welcome Center. This facility already serves as a critical hub for employment assistance, workforce and vocational training, social services, all delivered in close partnership with the county. We believe, we understand that $2 million, or about 4/5 of this request, will already be covered through a previously approved federal appropriation. Thank you so much for your support on that. That will greatly alleviate the overall burden and cost to the county. Just a few months ago, we were honored to host several of you for a site visit. We saw, you were able to see how we transformed a long underutilized former dog shelter into a vibrant welcome center where residents can walk in with dignity, feel at home, and access culturally proficient services that strengthen their families and our broader community. Phase 1 of construction is complete and came in significantly under budget. We built a state-of-the-art vocational training center with 5 fully equipped labs where students train on live systems. These spaces are already preparing residents for in-demand careers that strengthen our local workforce. Importantly, we have ensured that contracting opportunities for those improvements have been prioritized for small businesses coming from our local community itself, having prioritized union contractors, as well as provided contracts to cooperative businesses, such as the Workers Co-op Without Borders, who's here represented by my colleague, the Vice President, Maria Inez Gomez, who did a wonderful job, as you saw, painting the interior of the building. But the building is not yet finished. The capital funds we're requesting today will allow us to complete this 2-story office section dedicated to social services and citizenship assistance, including installation of an elevator and full barrier-free access improvements to ensure seniors, people with disabilities, and families with children can access services safely and with dignity. This investment is especially urgent in the moment we are in. Immigrant communities are being targeted and discouraged from exercising their rights. Access to citizenship specifically is not just a program, it's a pathway to safety, stability, economic mobility, and full civic participation. Through our Welcome Rockville Citizenship Center and in partnership with the county, we provide legal assistance, individualized coaching, and financial support so low-income residents can afford rising federal filing fees. With this support, citizenship would remain out of reach for many eligible long-term residents who are deeply rooted in the county. This project overall for us reflects what is possible when the county and community partners share values and purpose. Your investment will not simply complete a building, it will complete a promise that Montgomery County is a place where all residents can belong, contribute, and thrive. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Maria Inés Gómez.
Buenas tardes, miembros del Consejo de Montgomery County. Mi nombre es
Can I ask first thing, are you going to translate for her? What do we have? Oh, you're translating? Are you going to comment, say it in English? Huh?
I am interpreting, Council President.
Oh, I didn't see you. Okay. All right, good. Thank you. Okay, we're ready. Go ahead.
Buenas tardes, miembros del Consejo de Montgomery County. Mi nombre es María Inés Gómez y soy la vicepresidenta de la Cooperativa de Trabajadores Sin Frontera. Como miembro de la cooperativa, estoy orgullosa de haber contribuido al éxito que hemos visto hasta el momento en la renovación de Centro de Bienvenida Rockville. Estoy aquí para solicitarles su apoyo para que CASA cuente con los recursos necesarios para terminar el proyecto. La cooperativa ha trabajado en cada etapa de este proyecto y soñamos con seguir trabajando en los mejoramientos del espacio hasta terminar la renovación. Como algunos de ustedes recuerdan de una visita previa, la sección nueva del edificio era una perrera y estaba en condiciones feas. La cooperativa trabajó mucho en preparar el espacio, construir las salas nuevas y pintar las paredes, creando el ambiente acogedor que se ve hoy. Y queremos estar allí para terminar el trabajo y mejorar todos los espacios que quedan. Les solicitamos su apoyo para terminar este proyecto y esperamos verlos de regreso en el Centro Rockville. Muchas gracias por su atención.
Good afternoon, members of the Montgomery County Council. My name is Maria Inés Gómez, and I am the Vice President of the Workers Without Borders Association. As a member of the association, I am proud to have contributed to the success we have seen so far in the renovation of the Welcome Center in Rockville. I am here to ask for your support so that CASA has the necessary resources to complete the project. The Workers Without Borders Association has worked on every stage of this project, and we dream of continuing to work on improving the space until the renovation is complete. As some of you may remember from a previous visit, the new section of the building was a former animal facility, and it was in terrible condition. The association worked very hard to prepare the space, build the new classrooms, and paint the walls, creating the welcoming environment you see today. And we want to be there to finish the job and improve all the remaining spaces. We ask for your support to complete this project, and we look forward to seeing you back at the Rockville Center. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Now we're going to go all the way virtual, everybody. So the first one is Ellendale Henrik. Please go ahead. I see you.
Good afternoon, Council President Fanny Gonzalez and council members. My name is Ellendale Heinrich, and I am testifying on behalf of the Washington Area Bicyclist Association. WABA is a nonprofit organization with over 1,000 members and thousands of supporters in Montgomery County. We empower people to ride bikes, build connections, and transform places. We envision a just and sustainable transportation system where walking, biking, and transit are the best ways to get around. WABA applauds the county's progress on creating more safe bicycling infrastructure that is funded in the fiscal years 2027 through 32, including the Fenton Street Protected Bike Lane, the Purple Line Trail, neighborhood greenways around the Wheaton Central Business District, and other projects. We urge the council to make sure that the $2 million allocated to the Cherry Hill Road Protected Bike Lane is spent and that the facility is completed by the end of FY 2028. We also urge the council to make sure that the $10.6 million allocated to the best bicycle pedestrian priority area, or BIPA, around the Purple Line is sufficient to construct all of the sidewalks and bikeways necessary to allow Purple Line users within a half-mile radius of all 11 stations in the county to walk, bike, and roll to the stations safely. Likewise, the council must also make sure that the $4.3 million allocated to the US 29 pedestrian and bike improvements project is sufficient to allow safe walking and biking to the flash bus stations along US 29. Despite these investments and the county's commitment to improving safety for all road users, we were all heartbroken by the 18 people killed while walking and biking in the county in 2025, including Summer Lim and James Anderson, the most recent MCPS students who have been killed in crashes involving motor vehicles in Montgomery County. Presumably, the county's Department of Transportation and MCPS are working on the creation of safe routes to schools plans for all of the 211 public schools. The latest information shows such plans for only 89 out of those 211 schools, less than half. The county's Vision Zero plan only calls for the creation of 5 plans per year, meaning it will take over 20 years to create safe routes to school plans for every school. This slow pace is totally unacceptable. The council must ensure that there are sufficient capital and operating funds to create dozens of actual safe routes to schools plans with the goal of progress towards covering all 211 county public schools. These plans should include safe routes within school campuses to school entrances for all those who walk, bike, and roll to school. In addition, the county must provide sufficient funds to create safe routes to students within allowable walk sheds who do not arrive by motor vehicles. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Serge Thomas.
Good afternoon, dear members of the County Council. My name is Serge Thomas, and I serve as the Vice Chairman of the Mid-County Citizens Advisory Board. I am here today in this capacity to support the residents of Olney and their desire to have the county government include capital improvement funding in this fiscal year for the request letters. MCAB requested this funding, supporting the parents of the students attending the high school. While understanding the budgetary constraints the government is facing, the school is in dire need of fixing, and delaying funding for another year is unacceptable. Securing funding for critical renovation is a down payment on providing a quality education, and the school has endured too many delays for way too long. The citizens of Olney are seeking action, and action now. I thank the council for your time today, and it is MCAB's hope that the council approves the funding request, signaling your support of the students of Magruder and the residents of Olney. Thank you again.
Thank you. Just for the record, folks from number 23 and 24, they're not going to be here. So we're going to go to number 25, and that's Dale Tuttle.
Hi there, my name is Dale Tuttle. I'm here today to oppose the plan to fund additional hangars on the north end of the air park. It's important to note that I'm a current member of the Air Park Community Advisory Committee, the ACAC, you may be familiar with. The committee itself has not yet taken a formal position on the funding, only because the timing of this hearing and our monthly meetings have not quite aligned. However, I do suspect that the voting members of the committee share the same thoughts as I do on this matter. So why do I oppose the funding of the additional hangars at the air park? Firstly, the MCRA is not effectively managing the current facilities at the air park. As noted in our report last year, the MCRA has demonstrated a troubling pattern of inaction by failing to address documented issues within existing facilities. I believe that building more infrastructure under the same MCRA management approach will just lead to further problems down the road with a new set of facilities. There's also the risk of replicating the favorable lease terms found in what's called the master lease, which controls the current operations at the air park. It seems reasonable that any new FBO, fixed base operator at the new section, would simply demand the same non-standard and highly favorable terms found in the current master lease. The ACAC found that to be a disincentive to long-term business investment at the air park. So again, the master lease, currently the MCRA uses that as an excuse, we believe, to essentially justify inaction on improving the facilities or taking action needed action at the air park. It's also important to note there's just a current lack of financial performance at the air park. The MCRA currently reports essentially years of significant losses at the air park. The most recent actual report, which was FY24, reported over $800,000 in losses at the air park. FY26, the MCRA itself is estimating over $1 million of losses at the air park. So expanding the facility before the MCRA gets its fiscal house in order at the air park with the current facilities, if there's no plan to make that viable, why should we expect that a new hangar would do anything differently than the existing? And then along these same lines, the MCRA is not managing the noise and other impacts of the air park on the local community. If we have new hangars, we can expect to be an increase in volume of flight operations, which again, if they're not doing anything to control and effectively manage operation with the current volume, we can't expect an expanded volume to be effectively managed either. Thank you for your time, and hopefully see you again some other time.
Thank you. Next, we have Clara Lovett. You're muted. Can you please unmute? Oh,
yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. I had intended to testify in person, but life got in the way. You have heard many statements, many eloquent statements today in support of the capital budget for the Parks Department. I want to add my voice, not to repeat what you have heard about the significance of maintaining our wonderful parks system, avoiding deferred maintenance when we can, expanding the system. I want to say thank you for what you're already doing, and I would encourage you to be very explicit and courageous when necessary in making the case for how the condition of our parks is linked very closely to our need for additional housing in Montgomery County. I live in the southwestern part of the county, the village of Friendship Heights. In my neighborhood, we will have some development, not much. Most of the action is taking place north and east of my neighborhood in the form of rental apartments, apartment buildings, townhomes. In those areas, we need playgrounds for children. We need green areas for small green areas for seniors and others to meet their friends and to walk. And in those same neighborhoods, we also need access to the large parks that already exist. Think even of Wheaton, a very large residential area already growing. It is a great resource that the county already has, but for many young people, especially high school age, and certainly for many seniors, it's not easy to get to the park. So I would ask you to be very explicit when you address all constituencies around the county in making that linkage between the need to preserve and expand our parks facilities and the obvious need to increase our supply of housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dawn Puller.
Council members and neighbors, my name is Don Puller. Thank you for the opportunity to speak at today's budget session. I'm speaking as an individual in support of funding the CIP and specifically the Shady Grove West Library project in the CIP. As a member of the West Side of Shady Grove community, I would like to advocate in favor of this proposed library. Montgomery County Public Libraries are bastions for the community, allowing access to learning, media, news, and online resources for citizens of all ages. Having a library located in the Shady Grove neighborhood would allow significant use by the local community and allow access to the library by walking, biking, car, or public transit that would be beneficial to the infrastructure of the county and all the communities that are able to access the Shady Grove area. There are hundreds of families with children in our community that would make use of the library daily, and having it next to the Shady Grove Transportation Center would allow other communities to access the library via bus or metro. These factors, along with the planned East Side neighborhood, which we should hopefully develop once the bus depot is relocated, would allow the county to place a library in a dense and accessible neighborhood. I think this library is a no-brainer, and I strongly encourage the council to support this proposal. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have Mr. Joel Titelbaum. Mr. Titelbaum, if you hear me, you're on.
Can you hear me?
Now I hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I was having trouble with the sound there. I don't know if you can see me. I'm trying to turn that on too. Okay. I appreciate the council's hearing on the CIP.
You were great. What happened? Do it again, please. Can you turn off and on your mic again?
Oh.
Now I hear you.
Now you hear me?
Now we do. Don't touch anything. Just speak.
Okay.
There you go.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay. I just hit okay. Is that okay?
That is very okay. Go ahead.
Right. I don't see my picture, so I'm assuming you can't see me. But
We know how you look like.
all right. All right. So I don't want to waste time. Briefly, I'm here to advocate on the behalf of my neighborhood, surrounding neighborhoods like Rock Creek Forest, Littonsville, North Woodside, and other adjacent neighborhoods for the Rosemary Hills Park, which needs a refresh, which the parks planning people have worked very carefully with the communities and users to come up with last year. And they are ready to go if the budget is available in the CIP. And apparently part of the budget would be state supported, but the county budget needs to be in there to make it work. Please make sure the county budget for the CIP for Rosemary Hills Park is in the budget. And then secondly, I'd like to advocate strongly for the future Littonsville Community Park, the historical park in the small community of Littonsville, which was originally a black segregated community, now very open to the wider society, and is right adjacent to the future and hopefully sooner Purple Line Littonsville station. We expect a lot of people coming here when the station is opened. We expect a good deal of construction of housing and possibly other facilities in relation to that station and the various other housing initiatives from the county council. And the parks are the Rosemary Hills Park is already very well used, but dilapidated. And the refresh is to upgrade it, to bring it up to standard and add some new features that are essential, like water and a pavilion, and transform the soccer football field into a usable field, and especially to bring the park into compliance with ADA requirements for access, which currently totally out of compliance due to the deteriorating nature of the trail. There's only one ADA access to the park, and that's from the Caulfield Center Rec Center, which the Caulfield Center and the county put in the concrete entranceway there. The parks has done nothing to improve that yet. Yet there are entrances from several sides of the park, from the different neighborhoods and from the future Littonsville station. We are especially concerned about having things ready in relationship to the future Purple Line station and to the Littonsville Park, which will be linked to that station by historical markers and art, and to the future Littonsville Museum, already approved by the Rec Department to be inside of the Caulfield Center. And that will all bind together if we can get the budget, the CIP budget, up and ready to go in time for these parks to be, number one, for Littonsville, constructed from the get-go, and number two, for Rosemary Hills, a larger park, to be refreshed to the standard that is required. I appreciate very much that you are looking at this, and we want you to do well beyond what the county executive has offered. And I don't know when my time runs out, but if it does, I thank you, and I appreciate the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Kate Schrock.
Hello, my name is Kate Schrock, resident of Silver Spring, and I am here in support of Montgomery County Parks. I'm asking the County Council to honor the full funding request from Parks. I'm a skateboarder, a mountain biker, and a mom of 2 neurodivergent children. Our parks are a huge part of my life and my family's life. We use the parks for exercise, mental health, and social connection, and family time. For example, most Saturdays after swim lessons, we stop by Burnt Mills Park for a family hike. We don't want to spend precious weekend hours in the car just to get to nature, and having well-maintained local parks means county residents like us can continue to enjoy the outdoors safely and close to home. I also work at a local bike shop, and our business depends on access to parks and trails like Fairland Regional Park. Regular group rides on these trails help keep our shop open. There isn't a ton of money in local bike shops, but the money that we do make stays in the community. Parks support small businesses like mine in a very real way. It's also important to me, as with so many families, to have free things to do with my kids on the weekends. Parks are one of the few places that are open to everyone, anytime, with no cost and no barriers. When parks aren't fully funded, families feel that loss immediately. One of our favorite destinations as a family is Ray's Indoor Mountain Bike Park in Cleveland, Ohio. My kids love the pump track and the skills area, and I love that it's a safe, contained place for them to build confidence and play on their bikes. When I heard about the planned Wheaton Action Sports Park, I was genuinely excited because Wheaton is a lot closer than Cleveland. A free climbing wall, bike skills area, and skating space would be an incredible resource for kids, teens, and adults like me across the county and neighboring counties. It would be a place for healthy risk-taking, skill building, and community building. And it would be heartbreaking to see it disappear due to budget choices. Natural surface trails are also critical. Trails connect people to nature, support both physical and mental health, and are used year-round by dog walkers, trail runners, hikers, and bikers of all ages. Cutting trail funding would have long-lasting impacts on access and safety. Please fully fund Montgomery Parks. These spaces are essential to families, small businesses, and to health and quality of life in our county. If I have a couple seconds left, I just wanted to switch gears. My kids don't go to New Hampshire Estates, but on behalf of the kids and the staff there, please fix their HVAC. Thank you for your time.
Solidarity in play. Thank you. Next, Megan Di Nicola.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Megan Di Nicola, and I am proud to serve as the Silver Spring International Middle School PTSA president, representing a diverse and strong school community. The discourse around the current CIP has made one thing increasingly clear. For years, MCPS has not adequately planned or budgeted to keep pace with infrastructure needs. Large capital projects have consumed most available funds, while routine maintenance and smaller but urgent facility issues have gone unaddressed. We all recognize the original CIP will not be fully funded. As a taxpayer, I understand those constraints. But as a parent and school community leader, I also know that many students are learning in conditions that fall short of what they deserve. That makes it critical to examine revenue sources, funding allocation, accountability, and alternative delivery models such as the public-private partnerships used successfully in PG County to construct 5 new schools. My central question today is this: does our current capital funding framework adequately manage risk? Lack of funding does not eliminate need. It exposes a structural budgeting failure, particularly for urgent facilities issues that fall outside traditional emergency definitions, but still pose serious life safety, accessibility, and health risks. Stairwell 7 at Sims is a clear and urgent example. It is well documented and has been described by MCPS as unsolvable for more than 4 decades and presents a daily life safety risk to students and staff. In December, a congestion incident involved pushing, trampling, and a stacked egress stair exceeded the ability of staff to safely manage the situation. I've submitted documentation of that incident with my testimony. This is not a hypothetical risk. Continued inaction on a known, well-documented life safety hazard raises serious concerns about risk management and liability. As a licensed architect and a mother of 2 children in this building, I want to be clear, continued delay is not acceptable. The same structural failure exists with HVAC and indoor air quality. At Sims, staff have reported health concerns, black mold has been observed, and even basic measures such as replacing a heavily molded band room rug are delayed indefinitely while we wait for PLAR funds. A 6-year CIP cycle is simply too long when health and safety are at stake. The building currently requires urgent investment to address Stairwell 7, critical HVAC failures, and other long neglected safety needs. In the absence of timely information and accurate cost estimates from MCPS, the school community has requested approximately $60 million to address the full scope of deficiencies. That figure reflects decades of deferred maintenance, not the cost of resolving individual hazards. The cost to remediate Stairwell 7 would be a small fraction of that total, and is precisely the type of discrete life safety issue that should be addressed immediately, not deferred or bundled into a multi-year capital package. If the county cannot fully fund the CIP, fiscal responsibility demands a contingency mechanism for urgent non-catastrophic facility failures, life safety hazards, ADA compliance needs, HVAC and air quality risks that cannot wait. Without such a mechanism, delay becomes normalized, and delay is not fiscal restraint, it's cost shifting. Fiscal responsibility is not just about how much we spend, it's about whether our systems allow us to act when health and safety are at stake, and whether known risks are addressed before it becomes a crisis.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have Ms. Kathleen Michaels. You're muted, or we can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me?
Now we hear you, yes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak today. I'm Dr. Kathleen Michaels, a longtime resident of Montgomery County, along with my husband and 2 sons who attended MCPS schools. I am here today representing One Montgomery Green and the Climate Action Partners. And we thank you for your continued leadership and commitment to ensuring that the county's investments reflect fiscal responsibility and our shared dedication to educational excellence and a safe, healthy environment for our students. Consistent with these priorities, we strongly recommend that for the health and safety of the students and the fiscal health of the county, the nearly $74 million in MCPS funds that MCPS plans for the installation and replacement of more than 30 acres of plastic artificial turf surfacing be redirected towards state-of-the-art, sustainable, durable natural grass systems and natural surface playgrounds, with the remaining funds applied to other critical school infrastructure needs, such as HVAC. Upgrading MCPS's existing natural turf fields and installing state-of-the-art grass instead of plastic on new fields is cost-effective, healthier, and safer for students, staff, and community members. It is immediately implementable and is the environmentally responsible option. Of particular concern is the impact of synthetic turf carpeting on the health of the students playing on it and the environment that they will inherit. Synthetic turf is a risk to the health and safety of MCPS students due to the high heat of the surface. It gets hotter than asphalt in the sun. Frequent exposure to microplastics and related chemicals that shed from the surface, such as PFAS forever chemicals, which you may have heard of, and endocrine disrupting chemicals such as phthalates. In addition, injury risk due to hardness, abrasiveness, and shoes getting stuck in the carpet, which, unlike grass, does not give away. So on synthetic turf, ankles and knees twist instead. Synthetic turf is also antithetical to MCPS's sustainability and climate action goals, as the plastic carpeting smothers formerly vegetated land, creating heat islands while shedding microplastics and related chemicals, which work their way into soil, groundwater, and surface water. Modern natural grass systems offer improved drainage, durability, and extended playability at a much lower life cycle cost than artificial turf. Grass fields as a living system can be modified, renewed, and enhanced over time in places they grow and do not require $1 million full system carpet replacement and disposal of hundreds of tons of waste every decade as plastic fields do. In conclusion, we strongly urge the Board of Education and Superintendent to immediately halt further installation of synthetic turf fields and instead work with experts to focus available CITP funding on safe, well-constructed, and intelligently maintained, sustainable, and cost-effective natural grass fields adapted to site conditions. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Michaels. Final testimony for this afternoon is Mr. David Robinson.
Hi, and thank you. And I guess I'm glad to be the proverbial last but not least. I'm a senior citizen that's still fully working in Bethesda, Maryland, and I grew up playing sports in Montgomery Parks. And one of the sports, tennis, has been my life. And I've been a tennis professional now for 46 years. Since 2012, the last 15 years, I manage after-school PTSA-sponsored tennis and pickleball programs for most of the Bethesda, Chevy Chase, MCPS schools. The courts have been in such bad condition that we've had to pull away from some of the schools because the courts are just simply not safe. I also served on the Maryland National Capital Parks and Planning Commission sport work group that was formed when we were trying to figure out where to build pickleball courts. Now, tennis and pickleball participation has dramatically increased. There has been no new asphalt built for pickleball. 100% of the school and park courts that have pickleball have been built upon the existing asphalt. Asphalt is part of the PLAR plan, life cycle asset replacement, should be replaced in every 15 to 20 years. It's also by far the most expensive component of a tennis court, which is why the pickleball courts were all placed onto tennis courts. However, the problem is as they get aging, they develop cracks, they develop mold, and without the routine maintenance that prevents the mold from growing, that prevents the cracks from occurring, this freeze-thaw cycle we're about to find out about once everything melts in a week or two is probably going to be the worst we've seen in decades around here. Just so you know, Park System has 284 tennis courts. About 50 of those have pickleball on them, and then there's 16 pickleball courts upon those. MCPS is a little over 300 courts. So this comes down to at 7,200 square feet. You've got about 5 million square feet of asphalt that more than half of it's end life, and most of the rest of it is, I'd say there's, in the school system, they've done some asphalt replacements. Some of the middle schools that I work with have done it in the last 10 years, but I don't know any of the park courts in the Bethesda, Chevy Chase that have had a full asphalt replacement. Now, these are very, very dangerous to have cracks and have molds on a surface that's basically 5 times harder than a turf field. Now, they have hardness rating for turf fields for safety purposes, supposed to be under 200 Gmax. MCPS sets their standard at 135. Asphalt court is over 700 Gmax. So when you slip and fall on an asphalt court, you're talking about a serious injury potential. So the most expensive mistake is not performing the routine and regular tennis and pickleball maintenance to protect the asphalt base from the weather. The most dangerous mistake is not performing the routine and regular maintenance to protect the community users from slips and falls on surfaces which have developed cracks, lost their grit. The paint that you see on top has sand mixed in to provide grit, and they have mold, no grit. And thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson. This public hearing is now closed. We're now in recess until 6:30 p.m. this evening for a public hearing on the FY27 capital budget and the FY27-32 capital improvements program. Recess is on. Thank you. Adjourn.